Welcome to the Dada and Boys podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to the Dada and Boys podcast. I am DB. I am your host. And don't adjust your TV screens because joining me right here to my left, a familiar face, Rob. How you doing today, sir?
Blessed and highly favored. How about yourself?
I'm blessed, man. We're here. Beautiful studio.
At it again.
I've done a little housekeeping since the last time you were here.
I can tell. Looks good.
So I mentioned you're a familiar face, and we'll get to that in a second. But for the people that don't know who you are, because believe it or not, we've gained some fans after you left.
Right.
So first off, you're a father, and your son is what, 12?
Yeah, he's turned 12 in February.
And last week, I had my dad on, and we spoke about miracles. Mm-hmm. And miracles when it came to my nephew, Adam. You know Adam personally as well.
Right.
And when it comes to miracles, your boy is also one.
Yeah. He was a preemie, born 27 weeks.
And because he was born premature, he had a plethora of health issues.
And he still does, actually.
But he's thriving now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he's getting big. He's having that growth spurt right now. So he's looking good. Little by little, though. He still has his medical issues, but he's getting there.
Football star.
Football, yeah. Baseball.
Being rejected by girls like his old man.
Yeah, he's having those moments now. Yeah.
And 2 years prior to your son being born, you had a daughter who was also premature.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, she passed away because of being so early.
Yeah. That's correct.
I can't imagine the pain that you guys went through at the time. Mm-hmm. I mean, but I think what you guys went through with your daughter, it makes your boy's story just so much more miraculous.
Right. No.
It makes your relationship with your boy more meaningful. Mm-hmm. It makes you, I'm sure, it makes you appreciate your boy.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
A lot more because of what you guys been through. And I can't even imagine when you guys find out that, his mom is going into labor and he's not supposed to come yet.
No.
Having the flashbacks of basically going through it again.
Yeah.
It was that story, the story that you've been through that brought us together in the first place to do this podcast.
No.
In its older iteration of it, you were already co-parenting at the time. You had been for a number of years. Mm-hmm. I was barely going through that myself.
Right.
My boy was 1 at the time, and I was co-parenting, and it was a tough transition for me because I had never been away from my son for that long. And by that long, it's a day or two.
Right.
So I had this idea for the podcast, reached out to you. You were all with it. And I used it as a coping mechanism for my boy wasn't here. Mm-hmm. And very therapeutic, I must say.
Right.
So naturally, we had that foundation of what we wanted the podcast to be.
Right.
Kind of went off.
It did.
In a different path.
Different direction.
And then you just kind of got phased out. And then you were gone.
Yeah.
So for the people that want to know, where the hell did you go?
Okay.
So
we're gonna go there. Right?
And why did you leave?
Okay. Well, yeah, that's correct. We started this whole thing since the beginning. We did a little over 100 episodes, and then, but we had talked about this idea of really trying to talk to other fathers, single fathers, getting their stories, trying to see how they dealt with things, and learning from them. And I'm sure other fathers would be inspired in that sense. But later on, it just seemed like it wasn't. It was going somewhere else. Obviously, you wanted to bring certain things into the mix, and I wasn't with it. So I was like, it's all good. I didn't feel like that's where I was led to. I felt like I that's not what we talked about. But I needed to back away a little bit, but not just that. I had other obligations. I just went back to work, coaching football, my son's team. So it was hard. It was really hard to find time to actually record or do anything. That I just didn't have time. But in the same time, obviously, you're heading to a whole nother direction.
I was at a point in life where I was fine where I was at.
Okay.
I had accepted my co-parenting life. I accepted that my son's not always going to be there.
Right.
And I think that it wasn't therapeutic anymore. Now it was just fun.
And that was fine. That was fine. And like, this is your baby, so I had to respect that. So I had a pretty clear understanding where you wanted to take it. So I was like, okay. And that's why I kind of backed away. And two, we did have a little bit of differences, not just on air but off air too.
Oh yeah, just a little bit,
But it didn't deter that we were still friends.
No, people thought we had a falling out. People thought we had fallen out. We unfollowed each other on Facebook. F that guy. Never want to see him again.
Yeah, no. We still kept in touch. We'd always see each other at the gym. We'd always, talk for a little bit, but no, nothing like that. We didn't have a falling out, and a lot of people, messaged me about that stuff and asked me why are you guys even talking? Are you guys even hanging out? Like what'd you guys do? And I go, no, it just
even at our closest, we weren't really hanging out all that often.
Actually, we hung out more before the podcast.
Yeah. When we were both different iterations of ourselves.
Yes, we did. But once we started the podcast, it kind of just we had our own different lives. We had kids to raise, and we had our own jobs. Obviously you worked for the school. I worked for UPS, so my time is very, very consuming. The job that I have is very, very time consuming. So it really made it really difficult to do anything.
So we talked about you were on, you left. I got Mike. We're having our own little fun. Mike left. He was going through some stuff. He left. And then that's when I saw that, okay, now maybe we need a reboot. So I pulled the plug on it for a little bit. And then I really had to think about, okay, where we were at, why did I start this thing, and where did we end up, and what needs to change?
Well, before that, before you even asked anything or go into something, why did you stop?
Because Mike left.
But you could have kept on going.
I could have, and I kind of did. Shout out to Brian, because he stepped in.
Right.
But to me, it had lost the swag that it once had. It lost the meaning that it once had. We were just recording now just because I had to record. We had to put out weekly shows. Right. And then it was bi-weekly shows. Inside, I kind of knew, okay, like this isn't working anymore. You left, Mike left. Maybe the problem is me.
No, it was you.
So to me, I mean, I kind of had to up the production, up to how it looked, and I still kind of wanted to put back the roots that I had grew this thing on. So I pulled the plug. I found this place, brand new house. I had to be fully committed into, okay, what's going to be the new vision for the podcast?
Right.
New vision is not really have a second co-host. Because I feel like once you have a second co-host, then it kind of gets a little complacent where there's only so many things we can talk about. As opposed to having a different face every week.
Right.
Where it's a different story every week.
Right.
So we started the reboot. I had this place reserved, and I was thinking, how can I reboot this thing and make the biggest impact? I'm like, well, if we're gonna go back to the foundation, to my morals, where I first started, how did this first start? With Adam.
Yeah.
I would say Adam and what happened to Adam is kind of like what laid down the foundation for me being a parent, aside from how I was raised, obviously, but because I saw what my siblings had done, and I've seen firsthand on how kids have been failed.
Right.
And I feel like with Adam, that kind of set it in stone in my mind that I know what to never be when it comes to being a parent. So I had asked my dad, hey, when I reboot this thing, be on with me. Mm-hmm. He was a little hesitant at first. And I'm like, you've done a lot of newscast. Mm-hmm. You're a pretty good speaker. And I feel like it would make a big impact in people because they've never heard that side of the story from his point of view.
Right.
Because my dad is, and he admitted last week, he's this old school Mexican macho man where he doesn't like showing feelings. Mm-hmm. He feels like he has to be strong for us. Mm-hmm. And in a sense, I don't know, if you feel sad or you feel distraught over something, it's a sign of weakness.
Right.
And I don't believe that. Mm-hmm. So I felt, let's get him on here. Let's talk about things that we've never talked about before, and let's get real. Mm-hmm. And we did. No, and so far, the feedback has been pretty well received from it. But we had very deep and real conversation.
I think the foundation was already laid, but what you veered off of that foundation.
I was using this for therapy. I was using this, for a therapeutic purpose.
Right.
And at some point, I didn't need therapy anymore.
Okay. And I seen the podcast. It was great. The story was unbelievable. You guys made a lot of changes, not just in your family, but in legal and what you guys had to do. Go all the way to Sacramento, make legislation.
Many times.
It's amazing to see how it's changing how we treat our kids in some sense, because sometimes the law likes to take away our rights on how we raise our kids, but it was good to know what you guys did and how you guys made change.
California is a very reunification type of state where they feel kids need to be with their parents regardless of the circumstance. That's why parents can, excuse my language, but they can fuck up after fuck up after fuck up after fuck up, and it doesn't matter how many times they mess up. It doesn't matter. Right. They should be able to be with their kids no matter how toxic they are, no matter how bad they are for their kids. The end goal should always be the parents with their kids. And that's not always the case. I have lived that that's not always the case. Right. Sometimes parents can do more harm to their kids than anyone else.
I completely agree.
And how many times do parents need to mess up for the state to actually step in and protect the kids until it's too late? That's the answer.
Right.
When it's too late. When the kid is dead. When the kid is dead. Because I would say when the kid has some kind of permanent damage to him, but not even, because even at that point, the parent can still get the kid.
Right.
I've seen it. It's until the kid is dead, then they're like, oh, shame on you. Go to prison for 10 years. And then, of course, Newsom will pardon them out in 10 years. But I don't know. To me, it's just, that's the type of state that California is. And we express a lot of our feelings, a lot of our anger that we have for certain individuals, for certain circumstances,
right,
for our state that we live in.
What amazes me when I listen to the podcast, it was what happened to the individual that committed the crime. I know you guys. I know he's living his life right now, and you guys have to deal with the hurt and and the struggles of the aftermath. So, it made change, even though that's the unfortunate circumstance. It's made change for other families, that if that ever happens, there's repercussions, there's justice, even though you guys didn't get the justice.
We didn't. And it took a little boy to be robbed of everything that he would accomplish and achieve in his life. It took that to happen for them to say, all right, we'll change the rules a little bit. They actually shut it down 3 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they didn't want to do anything that would lengthen prison sentences because of jail overcrowding. It finally got through, I believe, the 3rd or 4th time, and then Schwarzenegger signed it when he was about to leave office. A little win, but ultimately Adam had to pay the price, and now that dude is out there living his life. No one never has to know. He could meet a girl off Bumble or whatever. She'll never know.
Right.
I think he's not even going by Raymond anymore. Never know.
No.
That he robbed a child of his innocence, of his future, of his life, of his wife, of his kids. He did that. She'll never know.
And how now the question I have for you is this: despite everything that has happened, and it's been what, 20 years now?
Yeah, almost 20 years November.
Yeah. And I've asked you this before. If you have forgiven him.
I don't know what that means, because do I think about him? No. Have I accepted what happened to Adam? Yes. Is it just my life? Yes. Is it just Adam's life? Yes. Do we plan our lives accordingly to Adam? Yes. Do I wake up and am I angry all the time? No. Am I angry a lot of the time? No.
But do you still feel anger, though?
When we talk about it,
Yeah. So it hasn't left you?
I don't think it ever will.
It can. You're not going to forget about it, but I think it can.
How? Will it truly? Because
Until you actually lay that down, and you already know how I am. I'm a man of faith. I believe that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And how do you expect God to forgive you if you can't forgive?
well, that's what makes God God and us human, us mortal. Because you've said it, and I mean it's known. We all sin.
Yeah, we fall short. You're right.
Always. The finish line is there. We're always going to fall short of it.
But we have an example. Jesus is the example.
But we'll never measure up.
No, not quite.
And that's what makes us human, is that we can have feelings.
But by God's grace, though.
That we can have feelings and we can hold on to feelings. So let me ask you, and this isn't just like some breakup. This isn't just some, I had a girl, treat me bad or whatever. Because I think we've all had exes that have treated us maybe not so kindly.
Right.
To say, I forgive her. Cool. Nice. Okay. But if someone actually hurt you, hurt your son, took his life away, took his innocence away, took his future away, took your future away, you'd be able to forgive?
It'd be one of the hardest things to do. Probably if I didn't follow Christ, I wouldn't be. But the fact that I follow him, he helps me carry my cross. He helps me get back up when I fall 8 times and get up 9. So every day, I've had my moments of forgiveness. Yeah, it may not be like that to that extent, to that level, but do I need to forgive? Of course I do. Now, it's not easy. I'm not saying that every situation is going to be easy, but if you were to just say it one time, all you have to say is, I forgive you. You're saying, what is forgiveness? It's an undeserved grace.
And I don't think he deserves it.
But do you deserve it?
Does it affect me? Am I everyday living?
No. I'm asking you.
Does it hold me back from my everyday living?
No. But what I'm asking you is as a person, you're saying he doesn't forgive it. Okay, he doesn't deserve that grace. But do you, as a person, deserve grace? After all the stuff that you have done in life, do you deserve grace?
But
you may not have to kill somebody, you may not have to hurt a child or anything like that, but you have done bad in your life. Just say it. But that we all fail. We all fall short.
Yeah,
but do we
has.
deserve that grace?
Every horny thought, sure, yes, yes. But I mean, again, at some point there has to be a line that just can't be crossed.
So let me ask you this: so you're the judge.
I'm not the judge,
but you're judging already.
But I'm human. It is in our humanly nature to judge.
Right.
We try not to. Yeah. We try not to be, but everyone judges.
Right.
We go to the gym and someone doesn't wear deodorant. We're judging. Like,
of course. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But here's the thing. That's a different type of judgment. The judgment I'm asking you is more based off of grace. We all fall short. I've fallen short many times
every day,
and I've been angry at people, and which sometimes they don't even deserve it. But do I deserve it? Do I deserve His love?
Okay, so let me ask you, if you injured a child, let's just say it was even an accident. Let's just say you were por pendejo one night. Maybe you're drinking. You hit a family minivan. You didn't mean it. The intent wasn't there. His intent was there. And you left a child with permanent disabilities. You can forgive yourself? Because you probably never will.
I would have to forgive myself.
I don't think that you'd be able to forgive yourself just like that.
No, of course not.
I think that you would have to find it in your heart to do something, try to make it up to him, and try to make it up for that family. Yes or no? Correct?
Possibly, yeah.
Maybe it would take years for you to maybe accept what happened, maybe forgive yourself what happened. But I'm sure it would take you being in that kid's life, if they will let you, maybe giving them some money, trying to help them with bills, maybe help them with services, whatever.
Yeah.
I think that you would try to make yourself worthy of your own forgiveness. Raymond ain't doing shit.
But despite
he hurt a kid, served his 7 years, running a tattoo parlor somewhere, changing his name because he doesn't want them to follow him around. And what is he doing? I think he owes Adam millions in restitution. How much has Adam seen? Not one penny of it. What is Raymond doing to deserve forgiveness? I think in my mind, if I were to just, you know what? I forgive Raymond. I forgive him. To me, what is that? What am I telling Adam?
You're displaying Christ's heart.
Well, Adam doesn't know that.
Well, he doesn't know that, but you know that.
I think by doing that, I'm almost turning my back on Adam, because you had this dude who robbed you of everything that you can live for. This dude robbed you, hasn't done one thing to make it up to you. One thing. He apologized just so he can get a lower jail sentence. He had to plead guilty to get a plea deal.
Right.
And he said, I'm sorry. I love that little guy, whether you believe it or not. Gag. We all want to just puke right then and there. What have you done to show your love for Adam? It was one big mistake. Was it really? Because we shake and we throw kids all the time in mistake, right? No, of course not.
Right.
How does that happen in a mistake? So, okay, Raymond is deserving of forgiveness, what has he done to earn that forgiveness?
That's what I was saying. It's an undeserved grace.
And he doesn't deserve it.
But see, that's the thing. Do we deserve grace? I think it's very important to always, and yeah, some people, I feel sometimes I'm like, man, you almost want to wish someone the most horrible thing. Sometimes you're just having that anger displayed. But here's the thing, it's affecting you. The forgiveness, yeah, it may be for him, but it's mainly for you. Reason why I'm saying that is because I heard a pastor say this: an unaddressed hurt turns into hate, and it manifests somewhere in your life.
That's what I've said, where acceptance is already there. I don't think any of my life dictates the disdain that we have for him.
Okay, but you said acceptance. Okay, you accepted the scenario. You accepted the situation. That's fine. But have you forgiven? That's a difference. Because one day, me and you are going to go face to face with the Lord, and He's going to ask you, "Did you forgive him?"
That's why He made us human.
No, I understand that. I understand that. But we still have to go through it. Have you forgive him? And what are you going to say? Well, no, he doesn't deserve it. Then what do you think? You deserve my forgiveness after what you have done to me?
How many kids have I hurt?
No, it doesn't matter if you have any kids. How many times have you turned your back on God?
To me, that's all subjective.
Is it? If you're a believer,
I think it
then
is.
It wouldn't be as subjective.
But we've also had this conversation backstage.
Yes, we have.
What you believe is what you believe.
Mm-hmm.
No one truly knows what to really do here on earth. Nobody really does know, because you can believe something, a Muslim will believe something, a Buddhist will believe something,
Right.
and they would stand their ground like you do.
You're right.
No, you are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I am right.
Right.
Who's,
and that's the thing. And
who's to say who's right and who's wrong?
You're right. You're right. And I can't prove to you that God exists. Okay? Neither can you prove to me that God does not exist.
Of course.
So my thing is studying, reading the Word, going out, even studying other religions. That's fine. But what makes more sense? What makes more logical? Do you think every day I get up in the morning that was all me? No. I could have been. I could have not woken up this morning. That's not all me. He had a hand in it. Because every day you wake up in the morning, you see the sunrise, it's God indicating to you that today is the gift. That is His gift. Despite how mad or upset, how pissed off you are at the world, He's graced you with this day. Now the question is, faith without works. How do you expect God to do something in your life? Because sometimes even you not forgiving or even you not doing a certain act may hinder you from what He has set for you. It may hinder you from what the blessings that He has for you. So that's why I ask you, have you forgiven? It's been 20 years. I know you've thought about it. I know it still angers you. I know that you feel that pain. Yeah, he doesn't deserve it. And you know what? As a human, of course, I agree with you. But in reality, but when you actually look at the big picture, because we only see through the small little lens, we don't see the big picture. Because later on, maybe when you have that forgiveness and you finally set yourself free from the bondage of hate for that one person, you may eventually feel that peace. And then you may feel that love. And you'll be like, I understand now. I understand God's heart now.
Do you believe an eye for an eye?
You know, no, not what the biblical. A lot of people get that messed up. Not in the.
I'm just asking you. Do you believe in an eye for
personally?
an eye? Yes, you personally.
Oh, personally, okay, not in a biblical sense.
No, just personally.
Personally, yeah, I do feel that way. Yes, I do feel that way. But is it right? No.
So where's that line? Where's that distinction between what you personally feel and believe? Mm-hmm. You believe an eye for an eye, but you know, well, that's not really right.
Right.
So what are you doing to change that thought of yours?
The word. Because it's not my standards, it's God's standards. Because my standards are not going to hold up to what God's standards is.
So you believe at some point you won't believe in it?
No, of course. Little by little. Of course, there's so much crap in this world that you're like, oh no, he deserves that. No, he needs to get that. And I understand that. As a human, that's my human nature. Yes.
Yes.
But
we all have that.
Okay, yes. But we're not, if we were a follower of Christ, you're not supposed to have that. Yes, we follow that have that human nature, but we're supposed to be new creation, meaning that we're not supposed to be of this world type of way.
We're never going to be completely pure.
No, I'm not saying
never.
That. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying we're not going to be pure, but you have to have a different mindset.
But there's always going to be like a little parasite in your mind of something that you know that shouldn't be there.
And the devil's a liar.
So you can say, well, we shouldn't do this and you should do this because you'll be in PCS, but you'll never be able to get rid of every little parasitic embryo in your mind. So even if you still believe in an eye for an eye, and I have hate for a certain individual, well, you should forgive. Okay, well, you should get rid of your parasites.
Yeah.
So when you say, you and I are now in the gates of heaven, and they're checking our IDs to see if we're going to be welcome into the club, and God pulls up my record and he says, oh, you never forgave that guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, if every sin is equal, is that any worse than whatever filth you have in your mind?
It's not. But see, that's the thing. We all fall short. Jesus is the one that can heal you. He can redeem you. He can not just redeem you, but he wants to redeem him.
Well, it's been a very eventful talk here.
Yeah, it has.
So welcome back, Rob.
And we do have these conversations off air, and we do have and it's a lot more. No, it's about the same. It's about the same. So, but yeah, no, it's good. It's good. It's good talking to you about these things because it's maybe I can help you see the big picture and not just the small tunnel vision that you have.
You wouldn't be Rob if you didn't think that.
Hey, but you know what? I tell you this because you know what? I'm gonna tell you this. Let me say this. Maybe God is putting you in a place where you may be the spear that breaks that stronghold of hate. And maybe your family are going through it too. And he may use you to start spreading that love around. His love. I'm just saying.
Why don't you just say where people can find you?
You guys can find me on my TikTok at _Rob_03 or on my Instagram. Same thing.
And go and follow me on TikTok, Dada and Boy, on Instagram and Facebook, Dada and Boys. Right here on YouTube, the Dada and Boys podcasts, or wherever you find your favorite podcast. So for the Rob, I'm the Dad with Yay. I'll see y'all next week.
God bless you
Peace.
guys.